Hey everyone, welcome to the Mind of Ro page. I am Ifa Titilayo, also known as Oba Jaguna. What that means is Ifa brings me everlasting happiness, and I am also crowned Aya Jaguna Obatala. So just be mindful of that when you send me messages and when you respond to this video with comments, that when you speak to me, you are speaking to the Orisha that is over my head. So please speak to me in a cool manner. Because I am focusing this video on Kemetic deities, Oba Jaguna, Obatala, who I'm crowned with, in Kemet is known to be the underworld version of Asar. So my last video was on Kumbanda spirits. I didn't tell anybody how to specifically work with Kumbanda spirits. I just shared some information on my personal experience with being adopted by Kumbanda spirits, and I shared a little ghost story with it as well. So if you would like to know a little information on what Kumbanda spirits are like, go ahead and look for that video. And don't also forget to share my videos and subscribe to my channel. My channel is at Mind of Ro, and my business Facebook page is at The Mind of Ro. I also have a Twitter and a Instagram and a TikTok at Mind of Ro as well. So today's video, I'm going to speak on the four corners, the four sons of Horus, or in other words, Heru. His original name is Heru. Their guards, and how to use pyramid energy to tap into the Akashic Records. So if you're not sure what the Akashic Records are, basically what it is because the whole universe is basically made of a divine web of existence, or a web of consciousness where everything is connected. There are records and basically, I guess you could say, bookkeeping of everything that has happened, everything that is to happen, and any understanding that you seek is all in the Akashic Records of the universe. So this is what this video is going to be about today, is how to tap into the Akashic Records by using pyramid magic and by using the guidance and respect of the four sons of Heru, the four corners, four elements, four directions that will help you actually open the way to communicating and to be able to hear, see, and feel messages in the ether, which is the Akashic Records. I'm also going to share a little more information on Sobek and Anpu. I'm not going to get too in-depth about them too. I made a video on them previously, and I will share I will share that link with this video. So if you want to go into depth with Sobek and Anpu, I will just tag that video with this video. I'm not going to get into it too much. I'm just going to give you guys a little highlight of why you would want to work with them. You don't necessarily have to work with Sobek and Anpu to do this. You don't even have to work with the four sons either, but if you want your work and you want to be able to tap into the Akashic Records much better, I would suggest to be able to learn how to work with Sobek and Anpu. If you are a beginner, I would suggest to only just work with the four sons for now, because it is always good in every single practice that if you're going to tap into the Akashic Records or into the universe for answers, it's always good to respect the four corners of the universe. So if you're not sure who Sobek and Anpu are, in other words, Anpu is also known as Anubis. They are the doorkeepers and the divine messengers. So if you are trying to tap into the Akashic Records, I'm going to suppose you want to get messages either out or in. So the best way to do that is to be able to know how to work with messengers. So that would actually be Sobek and Anpu. Like I said earlier, you do not have to work with them if you're not ready. I would suggest if you are a beginner, do not work with them until you get some experience. But in the future, it is going to be good for you to learn how to work with Sobek and Anpu if you want to be able to get divine messages from the ethers, or in other words, from the Akashic Records. So Heru's sons, I'm going to call Horus Heru. A lot of people are known to call him Heru, but his original name is, a lot of people call him Horus, sorry, but his original name is Heru. So when I say Heru, just know that I'm speaking of Horus. So Horus, his sons are paired with goddesses, and they are responsible for protecting particular organs. And they are also known to be directed or associated with the four corners of the universe and the four directions and the four elements. So I'm going to break that down really quick. So if you're watching this and you really want to know how to do this, go ahead and get a paper and pen and take some notes. So I am not going to make this video about history. So if you're a historian and you like that kind of stuff and you're a left thinker and you're intellectual, that's okay. That's cool. I love intellectuals. I'm a little intellectual myself. But if you're looking for some history on these beings, please, this is not the video for you. This is basically spiritual practice on tapping into the Akashic Records and spiritual work, or in other words, occult work. So if you're looking for a history lesson, this is not the video for you. For those of you who are very spiritual and want to know the universal concept and energies and higher understanding of these energies and how you could use them to help appease your personal life and goals, this is going to be the video for you, okay? So Seti is paired with Isis, and they are associated with your liver and the direction south. Seti is typically depicted as a human, while Isis is depicted with a crown on her head. Hapi is paired with Nephthys, and they are associated with the lungs and the direction north. And Hapi is depicted as a baboon, while Nephthys is known to be Isis, her twin sisters. So if you notice them in pictures, they tend to look a lot like each other. The only difference is Isis has a crown, while her sister has a basket on her head. The next one is Dwamotef, is paired with Neith, who are associated with the stomach and the direction east. And Dwamotef is seen as a jackal. So please know that Anpu is also seen as a jackal, and it is very common for people to confuse images of Anpu with Dwamotef. Dwamotef is known to be jackal-headed as well. And Neith is known to have arrows and a shield on top of her head. And the next one is Quamsanuf and Serket, and they are associated with your intestines and the direction west. Quamsanef is associated with a falcon head. A lot of Kemetic deities are associated with falcon heads, and a lot of people tend to mix them up with Heru or Ra and the other way around. So no, there's multiple falcon-headed deities when it comes to the Kemetic deities or the Neteru. Just know that Quamsanef is known to have a falcon head, but he is not Heru and Ra. This is a different deity. So when I say southeast, west, and north, just so you know, this is a pretty common way to connect them with directions. But please know, if you were to read about these deities, you'll notice that one book might associate Seti with south, while you might go on the internet and read another book or another blog where Seti is associated with the east. So please understand, this is why it's going to be hard for some people who are left thinkers to understand that some of these beings' directions will change depending on what you're reading, depending on your intention in the practice, okay? So if you are intending to do this practice, know that these directions are not set in stone. The way I just listed the directions just now is actually something that's pretty common that you'll see on some websites online. I've seen it on some websites set up differently. Personally, mine is set up differently for my personal reason. You could have your directions set up differently in your pyramid and your technique and how you want to tap into the divine web and tap into your pyramid energy. It's not set in stone. It's okay to mix it up. It depends on your intention, and it depends on the way the spirit is speaking to you. Sometimes the spirit might tell you to do it differently. It's completely up to you. So please just know and don't get confused if you read one blog and you read one book, or you read another website, or you talk to one person and talk to the next person. Even multiple priests would do it different ways. So please don't get confused. Just know it's normal for things to change up a little. Sometimes it just depends on the person. It depends on their attention, okay? So just know that. Also, I'm going to tell you how I associate them with elements. So I personally associate Auset with earth, while I associate Hapi with air, Dwamotep with fire, Kwamsinef with water. Please know that that could change with you as well. It depends on your intention, depends on the message that you get from the ethers. This is how I have mine set up. Some people have it set up differently. Some people may favor certain things or certain sides. This is how I do it. If you're going to first start out, it's good to just kind of maybe try to find something and follow a direction and just do it and see how it works. If your intuition tells you to move one netter to another corner, just do it. It's okay. Nothing's going to happen. And just so you know, if you're already into this kind of work, the Neteru are a lot more lenient and a lot more calm and a lot more cooler and a lot more accepting and understanding than some other spirits. So, but the downside to that is the Neteru tend to be a little more picky on who they speak to and a little more harder to understand when they communicate with you. So just to let you know, heads up, you don't have to be really scared about making any mistakes when it comes to working with these deities because they are very, very ascended. They're not very hot headed. Some of them are known to be hot, but they're not going to be hot like Lower or some Orishas or Kombanda spirits and stuff like that. So if you do make a little mistake, please do not worry. Nothing's going to happen. Your house isn't going to blow up or you're not going to drown the next year. It's no reason to fear any of this kind of work. They're very, very ascended beings. And this is actually a really good start for anybody who's starting out in this practice to start out with a Neteru because they're very ascended. You don't have to worry about getting punished or if you make a mistake or like accidentally light the wrong colored candle or something like that. You don't have to worry of being in fear, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so don't worry about that kind of stuff. If you're watching this, you want to practice stuff. If you practice Orisha work or Loa work and stuff like that, please know that Neteru Orishas are not Neteru Orishas. I mean, the Neteru are a lot different, so there's no reason to kind of like point fear at people, say, oh, they do it wrong, it's going to be blah, blah, blah. It's not like that. They're very forgiving. They're very laid back. You don't have to worry about that kind of stuff, okay? This is great for anybody who wants to work with more like ascended beings. So what you're going to do is after you do this, you're going to set your four corners up and you're going to sit in the four corners. As you see, I have this set up in the camera the way I do, just basically just so you guys can kind of see how I set it up. So you can see what's in my personal bowls. My bowls sit in a pyramid. I actually have a physical pyramid in my home that I have them set up. But because there's so much stuff in my pyramid, I didn't want anybody who's watching this video to be distracted and to make it hard for you guys to focus on what I'm speaking on. So I took some of my elements out of my pyramid and put it out by themselves so you guys can be focused on only these four corners and these two other doorkeepers. But when you set it up in your home, what you're going to do is you're going to set it up in a square big enough to where you could sit in the middle of it to make sure your knees or your hands or if you move around in it or whatever, you're not going to end up actually tipping anything over or you're not going to, I don't want you to feel like you're being crunched in or squished or anything like that. You got to be comfortable in it. You don't want it to be too big. You want to make sure you have a lot of pyramid energy close to you, but close enough for you and big enough for you to be able to move around. So you're going to do a pyramid, or not a pyramid, you're going to make a square around you with these four bowls, and I'm going to explain to you in a second. I'm going to show you what I have in these bowls with the four suns, the four directions, and the four elements around you, as square and perfect as you should get it, as you can get it. And you're going to face Seti to the south, Hapi to the north, Domotev to the east, and Kwamsunef to the west. And you're going to have a plate for each one of these netter, and you're going to have, you could either have one plate for each or you could have two plates for each. I like to just do one plate for each, that way you could feed both the sun or the suns and also with their goddess as well. That's what I personally do. If you want to have two, if you want to have a plate for Seti and another plate for Isis, it's completely up to you. It's your practice, it's your experience. Do it how you want to do it. Just make it your own. So I'm going to just pick the phone up really quick and I'm going to kind of show you what I did. What you can do is you could either just put the elements on the bowls or plates, as in if you have an Auset plate or a bowl, you're going to put earth in it. My suggestion to you is to go grab earth closest to your home that was not placed there by gardeners. You want it to be natural. You want it to come from the actual earth that came in your area. And the reason why you want it to have the earth in your area is it has to do with communication. If you're sending the message out to the ether that you want them to communicate with you at this specific location on the earth plane. So don't go gather some dirt from Hawaii and then come back to Washington and then put the dirt in Washington and say, come talk to me. You can do that, but my suggestion to you in regards to contacting the spirit and having them contact you is to make sure you get dirt, natural dirt, not from a garden. That sometimes gardeners will bring dirt into the land to help, your landscape and your yard look really nice and stuff like that. You want to make sure that if you get dirt, you're digging deep enough underneath whatever any landscaper has done, so you're actually getting dirt from the area you live in, so the communication is a lot more clear with the universe of what location you particularly are at, because you're going to be summoning these energies down to communicate with you. And basically what it is like a chord saying, hey, I'm calling you, this is where I'm at. Okay, so because you're doing that with the earth, when you set up your player bowl for Kwam, Senef, and Serket, you're going to place water in a bowl for them that comes from the nearest natural water source in your area. I do not mean a puddle. I mean either a river, a lake, an ocean. So like I said earlier, don't go run to Hawaii and grab Hawaii water and then bring it all the way to you to the mainland and then use that as water. You want to use water that's the closest to where you are at, to wherever you are meditating. Make sure you use water from the closest location that you are at. That is natural water. You could use sink water, but my suggestion to you is to use natural water, just like how I said earlier. The closest you are to Mother Earth in the area that you are in, the better the messaging you're going to get from the ethers going in and out to communication. You want it to be as clear as possible. Therefore, you're going to do the same thing with water as you did the earth. You're going to make sure you get the water from the closest natural source water you could get. Okay, not the easiest, the closest you could get to. River, lake, something like that. A bigger body of water, not a puddle outside your house, okay? So the next one is going to be Hoppy, is associated with your lungs and air, which obviously, that's why Hoppy would be associated with air, because it's lungs. So what I do is, if you look in the camera, as you can see a black plate in front of you. The reason why that plate is black is because Isis's sister, who is Nephthys, is known to be like the darker or black version of Isis. Therefore, that is the reason why her plate or their plate is black. And underneath it, you'll see a white bowl. So what you would do, I'm going to show you really quick, is what you would do is before you meditate, that's representing air. You're going to breathe 3 times as so. I'm going to show you really quick. What you're doing is you're placing your life force energy into the bowl, and then you're covering it with the plate to keep your life force energy in there to help the communication back and forth through the Akashic Records or the Divine Web. And Dwamatef and Neith is associated with fire. So if you look at the front plate in front of the camera, there's a red plate right there because they're known to be associated with fire. I have a red plate that represents fire energy. So of course, I would have fire as an offer for them. So you would have a candle there. If you do not have a candle, an incense can work as well. Anything that's associated with burning, fire, stuff like that. So like I said earlier, please know this is not set in stone. You could change it up. I do have candles in every single plate and bowl. You could do that as well, even though the fire is its own element. And the reason why you could do that too is to represent light, that you're offering light to your pyramid energy and you're offering lightful messages to these beings that you are going to be tapping into and asking messages from. And when you're paying respects to the 4 corners, what you're doing when you light these candles is you're offering light to the 4 directions, and doing so will bring light within yourself as well. So you could light them candles. So the best offers for these beings, you don't have to give them food. You could just give them the elements that I just listed earlier, or you could give them food. The best food you could give each one of these 4 suns is either a candle, an incense, even water, because it's water. You could communicate through water, and each one that makes it easier for the message to go back and forth. My suggestion to you is to not, if you're trying to associate with fire deities like Tuamatef and Neith, or any fire deity, no matter what pantheon, I would suggest to not use water, because, you know, water puts fire out. So if you want to keep that fire energy in, I would suggest to not use water to communicate with fire deities, unless you're using the water in association to cool the energy down, and to basically ask them to not burn you or your family or your home or anything when they come down, is a good way to use water as well. So kola nut can be used for any deity, but because we are talking about Heru's sons, if you use kola nut to give any offers to the Neter, please note to never give kola nut to Heru. He is one of the only beings, only nether that is not like kola nut being offered to him. If you offer him anything like that, only offer him bitter kola nut, or just don't offer him anything at all if you're unsure. But every single being basically is going to be able to work with kola nut. So if you want to just use kola nut to offer to each 4 of the suns, you could do that as well. It's a lot faster and easier to do. But the thing is, when you order kola nut, a lot of this stuff kind of goes bad really fast too. But you could order online. I'm sure you could find online to order it and have it sent over to you. For those of you who are not sure how to work with kola nut, if you're not sure how to make it last, put it in the freezer. I've learned to put it in the freezer so it lasts a little longer, because they go bad sometimes. Or just like I said earlier, you can either use a candle or incense. So I'm going to move the camera really quick, because I'm going to show you kind of like some offers that you could do. I'm going to show you kind of what I did. I'm not saying that you have to do this, but this is what I did. So I have Auset and Auset here. Something that you could offer them as well for Auset and Auset is mint. As you can see, I have some white mint that's there. If you do offer any candy offers like mint to Auset and Auset, please make sure it's white mint. And as you can see, this earth right here I gathered from outside that was around the building in the area that I live in. Auset likes incense, so I lit her an incense as an offer. And because Auset is also associated with the color blue, as you notice, I have a little blue holder right there that is for Auset. And of course, I have a white candle. When you're working with ascended beings like Auset and Auset, especially Auset, only use white or blue candles. You want to make sure that the energy of the candle is going to be matching the being that you're speaking to. Therefore, white is an ascended energy or a high energy. So white or blue is going to be the good offering candle for a being like Auset. I also made another video on how to summon Auset. I will tag that video with this video if you would like to have more information on Auset. Auset is Isis. So when I say Auset, I mean Isis. I'm not going to go into depth too much about her, because I already made a couple videos on her before. So if you want some more information on her, please go check out my YouTube channel, and I'll share some more information on her. But we're not going to get too in depth on her. I know everybody loves Isis. I love her too. She's great with healing. So this is Hapi and Neptet right here, or Nepthi, sorry. Black licorice is really good for any being that's associated with the color black. So I have black licorice here. Please make sure the closer to the natural black licorice, the better. Of course, you get the regular kind from the store. Do not use red licorice. You can use black licorice. And you can see I have a white candle here. If you're not used to doing candle magic, I would suggest to not start with a black candle if you're not sure what you're doing. You don't want to attract any energies that you're not ready to handle. So it's good to just start out with a white candle. You can never go wrong with a white candle. So right here I have Quamsinephrine Circuit, because Circuit is associated with a scorpion. As you know, I have little scorpion offers right here to have. This is my spouse's necklace right here. I've been keeping it at their bowl to kind of soak up that Circuit energy. I have little offers for her. I seen this. I went to Tennessee to see my daughter, and I seen a little scorpion, little stone here. I had to get it for her. So this sand that I have in here is actually from the ocean that's down the street from where I live. So if you're going to use water to give any offers to any of the four sons, make sure to use because the thing is a lot of the water, this is what we've been doing is we go to the natural water source and always collect water, but what sucks about it is it starts to evaporate and stuff. So sometimes I will use sink water to keep water in their bowls on all the deities that I use with water. Because I don't like using sink water, I like something natural. What I do is that I actually kept some of the dirt from the ocean that's down the street. So when you're looking in here, that's actually what that is. And these shells, you could actually buy like a whole big, well, not really a big, but you could buy a bag of shells at the dollar store with a whole bunch of shells and offer it to any water deities. They love that kind of stuff if you're going to be keeping some of their energy within your home. So I have Tuamatef and Neith right here. One of the good offers for them, because they're associated as a red or fire deity, is going to be anything that's going to be spicy. So I have cayenne pepper. So a lot of times when I'm trying to open the four corners, I use cayenne pepper to use for Tuamatef and Neith. And what you could do is pour it on the plate or use a spoon or whatever. I don't keep it like this. I will keep it closed next to their plate. But if you really want the energy to really work and you want them to be able to soak up the energy of the pepper, of course you want to take it out and put it on the plate. So I'm gonna move this back over here. So that's basically what that's basically what I did. That's just the basics of my four bowls that I use for the four suns and the four directions. Now, like I said earlier, you could always tweak it and kind of make it your own and mess with it. You know, the more you get to know these beings, the more you get to know what they like and what they don't like. So every time you go to the store, like how you seen earlier, I bought the little scorpion thing. You'll notice they're communicating with you when you start to see a lot of symbols and signs that represent them. Every time you see a symbol or sign, then you could basically just like, oh, they would like this, and go bring it home. And the more you give to them, the more energy is going to be stronger, and the more blessings you could actually get from these deities. So moving on really quick. Hold on one second. Let me see where I'm at. I took some notes really good what I wanted to talk about. Oh, so because these netter are associated with your body parts, they could actually help heal those body parts as well. So if you're having any lung issues, liver issues, stomach issues, intestine issues, stuff like that, these are the beings that you're going to want to work with, not only to heal the physical aspect within yourself. Let's say you have a physical problem with your liver, there's always going to be an emotional or mental and some kind of spiritual tie to those physical aspects to your body, because everything that happens within your physical realm and your physical body is manifested in the ethers or in the Akashic Records, since we're talking about that, in the divine web, before it's manifested to your physical body. So this disease is caused by dis-ease. So what I've learned is not only can you feed, let's say, for example, Amseti, let's say you want to feed him some food to help heal your liver. Meditating on Amseti and Auset will actually help you understand on why you are having liver problems in the first place. So you could try to heal your liver all you want, but if you're not healing the emotional tie or the spiritual tie or the mental illness that is causing your liver illness, the illness is going to keep coming back and keep coming back and keep coming back. And this is just a warning for anybody who wants to do any healing for their body and give offers to deities. If you are not keeping your agreement, if you are not practicing good character and you keep giving offers to beings to, let's say, heal your heart, but you're doing things to hurt your heart constantly, like being mean to people, hurting people, which in due time will hurt you and hurt your physical body, you could actually do the complete opposite, to where you could actually irritate some beings and you could actually hurt yourself more because you're trying to cheat the universe. You cannot cheat the universe. all aspects need to be paid respect to. If you're trying to understand a physical aspect to yourself, why we do this is because we have to be willing to learn the spiritual aspect to ourselves as well. So this is how tapping into these four elements and the four directions and the four suns can not only help you tap into the divine web, but they can actually help you tap into the truth within yourself, as in help you heal any ailments, sicknesses, discomforts that are happening within your physical body. So let's move on to tapping into divine web. I know a lot of people are tapping into this video because they want to know how to tap into the Akashic Records, but please know these four direction netters are very closely associated with your liver, stomach, intestines, and lungs. Therefore, when you are respecting them, you are respecting these body parts within yourself as well, which means if you are disrespecting them, you are disrespecting your liver, lungs, stomach, intestines as well. So please be very mindful of the way you speak to deities. Don't get frustrated. Don't get mad if you feel like you ask for healing and they're not giving it to you, because if you do something like act resentful towards it being that represents your liver, for example, you could actually end up hurting yourself, because in doing so, when you get upset with a deity who represents your liver, you're sending that negative energy to your own liver. So just be mindful of that. So when you're tapping into the four directions, what it's doing is opening the doorway to the four directions so you could get messages from the ethers, or in other words, the Akashic Records. So what you're going to do after you set up these four bowls with the four elements and the four offers, you need to always pay your respect to the four directions. So I'm not going to get too Kemetic on you. A majority of people who watch a lot of my videos don't know how to, I don't know how to speak, other language anyways myself. So personally, what I do is when I get into my pyramid, I pay respects to the four corners and to the actual pyramid itself, because everything is conscious. The pyramid itself is conscious as well. Therefore, if you want to tap into pyramid energy and pyramid magic, it is always good to respect the pyramid itself as if it is a spiritual being that you are speaking to and working with, that you are sitting within as well. So what I personally do is when I get in my pyramid, you could actually also use a cigar. Tobacco is very common to use with a lot of occult work or any magic work or any offers towards deities, spirits, ancestors, stuff like that. Is you could actually use a cigar as an offer, and you could just blow the cigar in each direction towards the suns or towards the elements to respect those four directions as well. So what I do is I would go into my pyramid and say, Seti and Auset, I greet you and I thank you, and then I'll blow cigar that way. And then I'll move around to the next direction and say Hapi and Neptet, I greet you and I thank you, and then blow smoke that way. And then Kwam Sonef and Serket, I greet you and I thank you. Twam Senef and Neith, I greet you and I thank you. And you're going to blow the smoke in the four directions. And then what you're going to do is you're basically going to just sit within the four directions, silence your mind. And this is a technique that I like to use, is say, show me. Is, let's say you want to know some kind of answer of anything. You want to see a past life experience. You want to know why you feel a certain way and you can't get rid of this feeling. You want to have some kind of healing or something like that. What I would do is, if I need answers like this and I need to tap into the Akashic Records, you could do this with astral projecting as well. If you want to learn how to astral project, learning how to work with pyramid energy and learning how to respect the four directions is going to be the number one way to learn how to astral project, and also be able to do remote viewing. Remote viewing, basically what it means is when your soul leaves your body and you're able to travel amongst the universe as a soul and see what is going on, not only within this planet, but other planets in the universe and other dimensions and stuff like that. But please be mindful, it can be dangerous if you are not grounded. So these are crown chakra and third eye chakra practices. if your root chakra is not balanced, you can get grabbed by something and not return, or something can jump into your body. So please be mindful if you're going to do any practice with pyramid energy, communicating with other spirits, especially trying to astral project, get answers from Akashic Records, divine webs, and stuff like that. Please make sure any practice you do that has to do with opening your third eye and working with or opening your crown chakra, always stay grounded, always do a lot of work with your root chakra. My advice to you is to Google some or go on YouTube and look up some root chakra meditations, eat a lot of red fruits and vegetables, say a lot of grounding affirmations, and do grounding or root chakra yoga before doing this type of work, so you're grounded here. That way you don't accidentally have a subconscious agreement to leave your body and not come back. And if you're not ready for that, I would suggest you just make sure that you work on your root chakra. This is my advice. I've heard terrible things with people who don't do that. So please do that. If you need more advice on how to do that, go ahead and shoot me a message and I'll let you know how to do that. I'll forward you some information that'll help you stay really grounded when you're doing some kind of work like this. Before I move on, I'm going to give you guys some information on how to work with Sobek and Anpu, and why you need to work with Sobek and Anpu when you're tapping into Akashic Records and working with pyramid energy. I would like to talk about, there's been a lot of people who I've seen a lot of YouTube videos, and I've actually had a lot of people send me messages about people dealing with negative forces because they're opening their third eye. My suggestion to that is the reason why people are dealing with a lot of negative forces or seeing, let's say, demonic beings when they open their third eye, the number one reason why is because they are not grounded and they are not focused on rooting their self into the physical plane and being physically rooted within their physical body and their physical sense of self. I'm sure a lot of you who practice or know about Kemetic practices, there's a very common saying, know thyself and you shall know the gods. People who open their third eye, please know that your third eye is the sixth chakra in the basic chakra system. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people do, but a lot of people don't know that as well. That means you have 5 other chakras you got to balance before you focus on opening your 6th chakra. So I'm not going to get too in-depth about that. I just want to mention that because when you're working with the Akashic Records, you are opening your third eye. And if you Google a lot of this stuff, you're going to hear a lot of people complaining, saying, I'm dealing with negative forces and demonic forces and blah, blah, blah. If you see a lot of demonic forces, take ownership of the fact that you see them. It is because they are yours and they're following you around because you are feeding them. Therefore, that means there are just some characteristics within yourself that you need to work on and heal, and there could be aspects that you have not forgiven, that you have not healed, and certain things that is attracting these beings within your life to feed off you. All of us have them. There is not one perfect person on this planet. There was only one perfect person that was living on this planet, and then we find out he wasn't even real. So let's be real with ourselves. Every single person on this planet has demons. But when we have way too many, we got to take accountability of it and we got to learn how to heal that aspect. So if you were somebody who's opened your third eye and you're seeing a lot of negative spirits, that just basically means you got some healing to work and some grounding work to do. So my suggestion to anybody who's dealing with that is do some grounding work first, which means situating yourself within the physical realm that you're in, as in your purpose on why you're here, and learning to love the physical self before you try to tap into your non-physical self. Therefore, your non-physical self isn't trying to leave your physical self, which causes a lot of imbalances within your auric field and leaving a lot of holes and open wounds in your energy field where a lot of negative energy and other souls and negative forces can grasp onto, and you don't want that to happen to you. So just work on grounding yourself, work on your your root chakra, then your sacral, then your solar plex, then your heart, then your throat chakra, because you need to learn how to communicate before you try to communicate to beings on the other side. If you don't know how to communicate with humans, you're going to have a hard time trying to communicate with non-physical beings. So these are all the chakras you got to learn to work with before you get to your third eye. So anyways, now that I said that, if you've already done this and you feel like you're a little more advanced, you want to learn how to do more, I would suggest, if you want your messages to be received by the netter and you want to be able to receive messages from the netter, it is best to work with divine messengers. So in ancient Kemet practices, the divine messengers, the most common divine messengers are going to be Sobek and Anpu, or in other words, Anubis. I'm sure a lot of people has heard of Anubis. So his original name pre-colonialism is actually Anpu. So if you look in the video, as you notice, I have a alligator on the left side and I have a skull on the right side. That's actually a coyote skull because he is known to be associated with the jackal, or he could also be associated with like the coyote or fox energy, and small dog type of energy is basically a lot of Anpu and Anubis energy. So that's why I use a coyote skull for Anpu. So I'm just going to give you some quick basics on how you could work with Sobek and Anpu. I'm not going to give you way too much information. If you want way more information on Sobek and Anpu, I will tag a video with this video because I'm going to be here all day explaining that kind of stuff. So these are the doorkeepers and the divine messengers. In Orisha work, it's Eshu. A lot of people know Eshu. So this is basically, if you practice Orisha work, Sobek is basically Eshu, okay? And Anpu is in the same realm as Eshu. They're in the crossroads. They're going to open and close doorways, not only to communication, but also to opportunities in your life as well. So when you're working with Sobek, he basically is going to get both of them are going to take the same type of offers as Eshu or Alegba is going to take. You could give them offers at the crossroads, four-way crossroads, or you could just do what I do and you could set up your four corners in your home, and then you could set up an imaginary doorway to your pyramid and have them both sitting next to each other to where you could walk through, like walk in between them as if they represent a doorway to your pyramid. That's personally what I do. And you could give them offers on a plate or in a bowl that's next to their plate. So you don't have to have these heads that I have. I do that for my own purposes. You can, but you don't have to. You could just do the plates, just like how I have just the plates and bowls with the offers and their names written on them for the four sons. You could do the same for Sobek and Anpu as well. You don't have to have the heads if you don't want to. If you do want to, do it, man. I think it's pretty cool and it's pretty fun. And they like it because you're giving them gifts, and they always like gifts. So what they like as offers is cigars, liquor, sometimes they take candy. I would suggest to make sure you ask first if they want candy. I was told that candy could slow doorkeepers and messages down a little bit. But if you want a little sweetness in your life and you want them to bring a little sweetness in your life, offering something sweet can help. But like I say in all my other videos, if you're going to give any offers to any netter, especially doorkeepers, because they tend to be a little more hot, please divine first, and I will tag a video with this video on how to divine and ask if you should or should not be giving these offers to them. That's why I was saying earlier, if you're not familiar with this work, please only just start out working with the four corners, and then when you get really comfortable with that, then bring in Sobek and Anpu into the picture, because they are keepers, and a lot of stuff could come in and out, and or even be closed off from you if you don't know what you're doing, or if you're acting disrespectful and you're not really mindful of the way you're acting. If you're just beginning at this, sometimes it's kind of like hard to know what they do and they don't like, and when not, because sometimes maybe one day Anpu wants liquor and maybe the next day he doesn't. Okay, so just be mindful of that. They're not always the same. Like I said earlier, when it comes to spiritual work, nothing is ever set in stone. It always changes. The netter always changes their mind, just like you. Like, you're not going to be in the mood to eat a hamburger every single day. Therefore, Sobek's not always going to be in the mood. to be given a specific offer every single day all the time. So just be mindful that you're working with conscious spirits who consciously are in the mood or have specific needs and wants depending on what you're asking for at the time. So common things they like. One of the most common things to take place of blood is palm oil. If you're looking at my heads, you notice there's stuff poured on top of them. It's palm oil. If you use palm oil, please try to make sure it's real palm oil. Palm oil, not palm kernel oil, because a lot of beings don't like that. I don't know why, but they don't. So to keep it safe, always just work with regular palm oil. You don't have to drown them in it or anything like that. Just a tiny bit would go a far away. Please be mindful when you use palm oil. It stains everything, so don't touch everything afterwards or wipe it up with a cloth that you really like, because it will stain it. Just a heads up, just so you know. You typically can't really find this kind of oil in Fred Meyer or Walmart a lot, so it's best to try to order it online. So those are the main offers that crossroad deities like, and that's pretty universal. A good majority of all doorkeepers are going to like either rum or gin, cigars, palm oil, coconut, sometimes candy, depending on the offer or the request and stuff like that. And what you're basically going to do is what I do is, because Sobek is associated with not only doorkeeping, but he's also associated with chaos, what I will do is I will give him an offer when I want the doors to be open for communication, or if I just want to pay my respects, I'll give him an offer and I'll say, I greet you, Sobek, and I thank you for keeping chaos away from me. My suggestion to you, if you have a lot of chaos going on in your life, it's good to feed Sobek to calm that chaos down. And when I'm working with Anpu, I'll say the same thing. I'll give an offer and I'll say, I greet you, Anpu, and I thank you for opening the way and for leading the way. So in Kemet, the story of Anpu is known to be the jackal. And the reason why is, if you were to be lost in the desert and you see a jackal running in the desert, it's been told that you're supposed to follow the jackal because it will lead you to a water source or to the nearest village. So that's why Anpu represents the jackal, is because he is not only a door opener and a doorkeeper, he will also lead you the right direction. So a lot of times in our life, we have no idea which way we're supposed to go. And if you need somebody to help lead you the right direction to your higher purpose and to your highest path, it's good to ask those type of questions to Anpu. My personal experience with Anpu is he's typically pretty quiet, but his energy is very, very strong, which means if you feed him a lot, you're going to see a lot of people wearing yellow and black stand at crossroads, and a lot of that kind of like hyper, kind of awkward energy going on around the crossroads around you if you feed him a lot. And he also pushes a lot of people to get initiated in practices and stuff, and he teaches you a lot. Or he'll forward you to people who would teach you a lot of this kind of stuff as well. So just know, a warning to you, if you work with Anpu, he does a lot of pushing. He's going to push you a lot of the right directions. If you're not listening to him while he's being nice, he can be very intimidating, and he is known to come to your dreams as a dog, barking at you, harassing you, and trying to scare you into the right direction. He is not a bad being. He is not a demon. Do not put him in a box like that. If you are not listening to him when he's being nice, he could be aggressive. Just pay attention if you have either a black dog or a coyote, fox, jackal, wolf being speaking to you, or if you see any of these animals in the street and you see them, it's usually a message from a Anpu saying, hey, you need to go this way, or come talk to me, or something like that. So don't also forget, when you're sitting in the pyramid, before you go into the pyramid, to always greet the pyramid as well. So I greet the four corners, like I said earlier, and then I'll greet Sobek, and then I'll greet Anpu, and then I'll greet the pyramid, and I'll say, thank you, pyramid, for the messages, and then I'll meditate in the pyramid energy. So let me repeat very quick. what you're going to do is you're going to set up your four corners, and you're going to greet the four corners, like I said earlier, and then greet the door openers, and then greet your pyramid, and then sit in your pyramid and meditate. So that's what you're going to do. If you have any more questions on how to tap into the divine web with the four energy of the four corners, four suns, four elements, please shoot me a message and I'll give you some more information. If you start out and you feel like you're not getting any messages, don't give yourself a hard time. It's either A, because you're just not soulfully ready, or B, you just can't hear the messages and you just have some other work to do. Some people, no matter how much they try, they can't communicate with the netter. They tend to be a little picky. If you were drawn to them, you have a higher chance of, or have a higher chance of being able to, and sometime in the future, because if you're resonating with them, that usually means you're supposed to work with them. But sometimes your soul just isn't ready. Sometimes your ancestors don't agree with you, which means you might need to do some ancestral work and be like, hey, why can't I speak to them? Or can you, or can I speak to those ancestors who do support this kind of work and stuff like that? You might have ancestors that are like, hey, I don't want you to do that, and they'll get in the way. Or you're just having trouble trying to still your mind. If you work with a lot of beings already, just so you know that the netter energy is very, very high. So they can be really hard to hear, see, speak, and understand. If you have a very busy mind, they are a lot lighter weight energy than the Orishas, and they way more lighter energy when it comes to like the Loa and Kwambanda spirits, because they're a little more heavier spirits, and Orishas tend to feel a lot more physical as well. The netter are very, very ascended, so they can be really hard to tap into if you can't still your mind or calm your mind down. So they also are known to give you messages with a lot more images versus, like, let's, for example, Eshu likes to talk a lot. He likes to chatter and talk. Well, you'll be able to hear him talking to you, and you can feel a lot of energy, almost like he's chilling next to you. But when it comes to the netter, they don't talk as much. They actually show a lot more images. So to be able to see images, you got to be able to still your mind, as in stop trying to create images yourself, and to be able to trust these energies to give you the message. If we're not trustworthy in the messages, we're going to try to create the messages ourselves, or we're going to misconstrue the messages, or we're going to try to make it up, or we're going to resist the messages that's being given to us. So you got to go in this with no fear and no judgment of not only the netter, but also of ourselves as well. Because if we're judging ourselves, like, for example, a lot of times when we first start meditating, we'll be like, why can't I get the message? And then we'll start giving ourselves a hard time. And when we're doing that self-judgment, what it does is it closes off that energy field to be able to connect and get answers from the other side easier. So we can't be judging ourselves when we're tapping into the ethers and asking higher dimensional beings for messages. Because if we are judging ourselves, we're going to judge the message they're trying to give to us, which means we're not soulfully ready for the message. Therefore, that is why some people who do this can't get the message. It's because they're just not soulfully ready. They're blocking it for whatever reason. But it's okay. That just basically means we just got to do some more healing work, some more grounding work, and some more meditation practice, as in learning how to still our mind or calm our mind down a little bit as well. I am a certified meditation instructor. If you need any tips on how to still and calm your mind, just go ahead and shoot me a message, and I'll give you some pointers on how to do that. And I'm also offering some meditation courses. Soon I'm going to do some Zoom group teachings, some courses on meditation. So if you're interested in that, just let me know, and I'll write your name down and let you know. Whenever I have those classes up and going, I will give you a call or shoot you a message and let you know, hey, it's going down now. So that's all the information I have in tapping into the Akashic Records using the four suns and also the pyramid energy. The next video I'm going to make, I want to touch base on toxicity and trolling in the spiritual community. And I don't like to talk about a whole lot of negative things, but I definitely feel like this is something that needs to be spoken on. So I'm going to make a video on that next week sometime. Hopefully, sometimes I switch my videos up sometimes, but eventually within the next couple of weeks, I'm going to make a video on that. And so just tune in for that. If you have any ideas or any videos you would like me to make, go ahead and let me know and I'll make a video on it. I do speak a lot about the netter and the orishas. If there's any netter that I missed or any orishas that I missed and you really want me to make a video on it, please let me know and I'll make it for you. I hope everyone is having an enlightened night. If you like my videos, don't forget to show me some love and share my videos. Subscribe to my channel on YouTube at mindofro. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I have more love and wisdom to share with you. And also find me on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at mindofro. I also have a Snapchat at LittleRoro253. But I don't respond to Snapchat messages a lot because if you do message me on Snapchat, please have something to talk to me about because I just don't do, boring conversation, but that's just me. But anyways, I hope everybody has a wise and enlightened night. Hotep and namaste.